Welcome to this Notesmaster Support Network video on creating a resource. So we start as always from our home page here. We click login, our email address and password, and we log in. Now always we start from our workspace. So each time we log in, we'll find ourselves in our workspace. And this is where we create our material. Everything we create here is private. And then of course we can share it with our group or with our class or seek to publish it more widely for the community in the resources area. So let's look at CSEC biology as an example. This is my syllabus. And on the right hand side, you see there are zeros. And these zeros mean that I have no material in my syllabus. And this is what it starts off like at the beginning. When you first have a syllabus added to your workspace, there's no material in it. So as you would have seen in the resources tutorial, you can go to the resources area. And in the resources area, you'll be able to find CSEC biology. And you'll be able to see a range of materials that have been created and shared. CSEC, science and maths, biology is here. If I click on it, the syllabus opens and you see on the right hand side there's lots of material available. So I can add material from this area to my workspace, or I can create my own. So let's look at creating our own here. Now there's a lot of features involved in creating your own, so this is just a brief overview, and there'll be subsequent videos and tutorials that'll show you specifically how to use the file manager and upload your own images, how to crop an image, etc., how to use a table, how to format a column, etc., all of those elements. But this is an overview of how you can create a resource. So if I select the section of the syllabus, and these are the topics, and the specific objectives. So organisms, let's go organisms. Click on the specific objective. It asks me to add new content. Click on add new content and I have three options. I can create a resource or a class note or a lesson. They all go by the same name really. I can link to another website from anywhere across the internet. So if, for example, I know that there is a very good resource for rivers that NASA do or National Geographic website does, I can link that web page from National Geographic to my syllabus specific objective. So I'm not having to recreate that resource myself. I can simply link the web page directly to my syllabus and share it for my students. And then I can create an interactive quiz. So let's look at creating a resource. So if I type organisms, and as you see, I'm looking at good instructional design principles. So the title would have popped up if I'd put it in before. I can click on it here. Not every letter is capitalized, so we're not shouting, we're just a capital letter for the first word, for the first letter of each word. Okay? And I click create, and that takes me into the editor. Now, everything I do here is personal. It's personal until I select the share button here to share it. And I can share my material with any group that I'm in that also has the syllabus available. So that means the biology syllabus would need to be in Martin's geography group for me to be able to share my biology material with it. I can set my material for peer review so other teachers can give their feedback on my material. If 5 or more approve it, then I have the opportunity to publish it to the resources area so everyone in the region can access it. Materials are initially Creative Commons, so anybody can copy it. But if I want my material to be just shareable but not editable, then I can set it to copyright. If I'm in any classes, I've created any classes for my students, I can share my material with the class. Let's cancel that for now. So where do we start? Well, this is similar to Microsoft Word. You put your mouse over each button, it'll let you know what that function is. Click Go Advanced, and you have a range of more features. So this is what I spoke about in terms of linking, using Google Drive if you have Google Drive, math formulas. So you click on the Whereas editor and you will have a pop-up I can insert a fraction here if I wish. Do my formula, 2/4, click OK, and it's inserted into my note. If I don't want it, I can undo it, or new document. It removes it. I can add a table, insert a table, click on that, drag out my table across the page, and then add images, titles, text into the various columns. But how do you know your resource is looking good? So instructional design may be a term some of you have heard of, and it's generally based around providing a framework for learning where a student will come to this resource, not be bombarded with lots of pinks and whites and greens, gaudy colors or huge text or just too many images or too many videos. We're presenting our material in a way that the student can absorb what we're trying to say and find it a little bit more interactive. So we don't just want to copy huge paragraphs off Wikipedia or other websites with respect to copyright and just place it here, because that's not really moving the game on. We want to provide the student with some text to read. We want to provide them with a visual image. We want to provide them with something quite exciting in the form of a video, and we want to provide them with something quite engaging, maybe a SlideShare presentation or a Prezi presentation, and then we want them to test their knowledge, maybe link to a quiz on another website. So on our resource, we can watch, we can read, we can hear, we can do, all on one page. And that's then saved to the specific objective in our syllabus. So how do we do that? Well, if I clear my document, there's a series of templates here. So to just show you again, I click Go Advanced, Insert a Template. Click on Template, and there's a list of templates. Select each template, gives you a brief impression of it. But there's a CXC activity template that we use for CXC activities. So if you select that one, and then you click OK, you'll find, if we close this now to give us more space, you'll find that there's a series of areas for you to add content, and it makes it much easier to do. And I'll just briefly talk you through these. So if I extend my page here, you can shorten your page or extend it if you wish. Scroll up and extend down. So we note that this is organisms in the wild. Use the same title here as for here. So if you refer to your material as organisms in the wild, then put that as the title here. So for example, if you put organisms in their habitat and tell the student, go on to Notesmaster and find my material on organisms in their habitat, but you have actually created it organisms in the wild in your syllabus, then there's a slight disconnect. The student may be looking for in the habitat, but just see in the wild. So let's try and make sure that it's correct. Organisms in the wild. So the template is broken down into sections, and we have an introduction, something that introduces your resource to the student. Let them know what this is supposed to cover and something that grabs their attention. And then we have a contextual element. So this little light bulb, perhaps insert a bright explanatory idea here to grab the reader's attention. So this explanatory idea is really about providing a sense of context to the learner. So I grew up, for example, in Guyana. I remember when I was growing up in Guyana, we had a big bush outside the front of our house, and in it used to live some of the biggest lizards I'd ever seen. And for me, it was always fascinating how these lizards lived out there, and I always used to wonder where they went when it rained. So providing some form of context for the student would immediately make this relevant. So organisms in the wild or in their habitat, one could reference, think of a bush near where you live, go and have a look and take a look at the organisms out there. That would be an example of an organism in its habitat. So it's just something, very crude example I've just presented, but all of a sudden I would think, oh, right, yes. So the bush, oh, right, the habitat, that's where it lives. So you're just providing a sense of context to the learner that would make this resource more immediately relevant to them. If you don't want to use it, you're welcome to click on it, right click and delete it. But it's a nice way of just providing a little relevance to the student. Use this space now to explain your topic. So now, having introduced it and provided some context, Give the full explanation, a detailed explanation. Try not to just throw out loads of paragraphs, but provide a concise, useful explanation. And then we want to insert an image to provide that visual representation. So we have in the template a table, and it's showing you where you can put your image. So if I click on this image and highlight it, this placeholder, and delete it, we see the cursor is now in this space. Every user has a file manager, this yellow button, Insert File. Click on it, and it shows you two elements. You have your own personal folder, which I'll go back, My Folder, where you can upload your own images to. And then what I've just scrolled through, the public folder. Subjects have these here: biology, blood organisms, viruses, skeletons, reproduction, biology, animations. If you click on one of these, you then see a range of images that have been presented. Click on the image and it's automatically inserted for you into that space. So it's inserted where the cursor is. If it's gone somewhere wrong, or you've, for example, clicked your cursor here and then you've clicked here and you've, say, clicked on this rendering of the blood and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want it there. Don't worry, just go back with undo, put the cursor where you want it to go, and then start again by clicking this button. If your image is too big, just click on it so it's highlighted and grab one of the corners to shrink it down. You can put images side by side so you have a format whereby they look well spaced, nicely presented on the page. So this is our image with a little text here providing some explanation. I then have a little page divider so my student or learner moves to the next area, and in this case, add a video clip. So you may be familiar with YouTube or Vimeo. If I click on this, you know it's highlighted with a little blue border on the outside. If I click on it again, little blue border, scroll up. I'm looking for this button, Insert YouTube, and this will open up YouTube on our Notesmaster page. Click on it here, type in the title, Organisms in the Wild, and this will do a search of YouTube for me. So I'm not having to leave Notesmaster, I can do it here. Click on a video, video will appear here, click play, and I'm watching the video, seeing if it's relevant, seeing if it's exciting, if it's age appropriate, if it's easily understood.
It's tough to raise a family these days.
Once I've watched it all the way through, I can click insert and close. If I wanted a different one, I'd just click on that one and I could watch that one. Scroll down to see as many as I wish. I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to click insert and close, and you see the video is inserted into the area where I had highlighted. And the video will play, and I'll have hopefully a little text explanation here. Now this text explanation is important because if the video does not play, then you need to provide a little bit of background to what the video is trying to say. And we should introduce our video clip with something engaging, or a call to action, as we would say. Now, please take a look at the video to learn more on organisms. So I'm guiding the student with what to do, telling them to watch the video, and I'm telling them that they may learn a little bit more on organisms. Make sure I save regularly, and I can preview how my resource is starting to take shape. I would have put my introduction in here, delete this text and put my introduction in here, delete this text and put my relevant idea, reference called, something that provides a local context. And then I would have deleted this text and provided my explanation of the topic, the meat of the topic, what an organism is. And then I would have added an image. So all organisms have a brain. Something simple like that, or something more complex depending on what your image is. And I click save, and I want to know how my resource is looking now. So if I click preview I can see that from my page here, I've got my title, and then I have my introduction, and I have my video. So I'm seeing that my page is looking pretty good and pretty balanced. And that's important. We don't want too much text, too big an image, items out of place. This section here now is for SlideShare, Prezi, or SoundCloud. So we can now add another dimension to our resource. So I'll follow through on this in tomorrow's tutorial, but SlideShare is a way of inserting a PowerPoint presentation into your note or your resource. Prezi is an interactive presentation, similar to SlideShare, but a little bit more dynamic. SoundCloud, if I wanted to, for example, doing a Spanish resource, I could add a clip of myself speaking, record myself speaking, upload it to SoundCloud, and then I could insert it here. And then this area is about a link to interactivity. So remember I talked about we're going to be reading, we're going to be seeing, we're going to be watching and listening, and then hopefully we'll be interacting with something, scrolling or sliding or zooming in and out with our Prezi or our SlideShare. And then we'll have a link to a quiz. So maybe I have found a quiz on another website that I would like my learners to try. Something that's similarly done, but someone else has done it for me, but it covers the material that I've already explained here. So I'm pulling in a video from YouTube, a quiz from another website, a presentation from another website, my own text, and some local context from local knowledge that I have here. And all of these will be assembled on my resource. Now, I'll pause here, I'll save it, give you a chance to practice inserting an image, uploading an image, clicking Insert File, clicking back to your home folder, your personal folder, and if you have an image, click My Folder, click Upload, click to open your computer. I may upload this CVQ logo, it uploads. Tick means it's ready, return to files list, and I have it here. I'll simply click on it and it gets inserted where the cursor was here. But it is huge, as you can see there. Look how huge it is, so I can scale it down if I'm trying, still scaling it down, still scaling it down, still scaling it down. Or I could simply go here where it's highlighted and type in some new dimensions. And here it is. Now this image is out of place, hence that's why we have the table format to provide the structure. If we didn't want it, we could just delete it. Okay, so have a little practice with some of these features, and in tomorrow's session we'll look at the addition of SlideShare and interactivity, the addition of a quiz, and we'll have a more complete resource. Okay, remember to save, and once you've finished, close the editor, and our resource is currently described as a personal resource, so nobody can see it. It's in my workspace, it's personal, and it will stay under this specific objective, classify organisms. So the important point is that I'm able to populate my curriculum in a way that I choose, and then share it with my class for my students to access, or share it with my school group as part of the support network if you wish, or if I wanted to have it viewed by everyone in the region as a national resource or a regional resource, I would submit it for peer review, and other teachers who are teaching biology would have a copy of this resource in their peer review section of their resource workspace area here, and they would be able to add their approval, leave their feedback. Okay, so thanks for watching, and look out for the next video, part 2 of this, creating a resource, on how we complete our resource and how we share it with our school group. Thanks for watching.